They may not have used the terms that we use, and that's what people, they don't see those keywords, so it must not have happened. If you read, man, this stuff, like you said, it's been happening for a lot of these things for a long time. It's been just a normal part of life. And for whatever reason, we've forgotten it as our society. I don't know why.
Acadia After Dark is a horror podcast, and as such, may not be appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome back, folks, to the Acadia After Dark podcast. I am your host, as always, the Reverend Redbeard, and we have a fantastic episode this week because I have a guest that I've been trying to get on the show for a couple weeks and finally was able to get a chance to talk to him. This is the face behind the pretty large Facebook page, Maine Book of Secrets, as well as the Bigfoot guy at 207 Paranormal, Julian. Chris, how's it going, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad.
I'm really glad to have you on the show this week. I know that last week we meant to. I was out of town traveling, went down to Connecticut for some of my day job work, and unfortunately, the hotel that I was staying at, the Wi-Fi was absolutely awful and would not even allow me to open a Google Meet. So I was like, unfortunately, one of those rare instances that I don't like to have the tech be the limitation, but that's how it worked out. But it happens. Luckily, yeah, you were very accommodating. You totally understood. So luckily, we were able to get right back on schedule and get something this week. But also coincidentally, because you're a man that does a lot of things, and especially when it comes to like the spooky stuff up here in the Maine woods, and that's kind of our whole shtick here. So one big thing that you definitely got to tell us a little about, and I won't wait till the end of the episode because it's one that I've been excited since I heard the date announced for it. We got the 207 Paranormal leading the Fort Knox ghost tours. How many years have you guys been doing this now?
207 has been doing it for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, but half the team was with the previous team that investigated there. So they've been there a long time. I personally have been there about 3 or 4 years, I think.
Right on.
But yeah, we've all put some time in, a lot more than others.
Yeah. I understand that. So this year is obviously, every year is different. What are you looking forward to this year with the ghost tours? Fort Knox is a pretty historical location. People have listened to the channel, heard tidbits about it. We talked about it a little bit on the Acadia After Dark season 1. So there is some, glossary knowledge, but it has a long history. And I know you guys probably every year, like I said, is different. So what are you looking forward to this year? Is there anything new going on, or?
As far as I'm excited because we're doing less. And I know that's going to sound weird, but I feel like sometimes we kind of overwhelm the fort in a sense.
Sure.
And I don't know. We've cut it back quite a bit this year. So I'm just excited about every single one of them this year.
Nice. And how many dates are you guys doing? Is it all summer long? I know that you had a few
pretty much
May.
One a month.
Cool.
One a month, and we'll have 2 ghost camps, which we're allowed to. You can camp out in the parade grounds of Fort Knox. All night. Yeah, I
bet that's a fun time.
Yeah,
that sounds like a really fantastic opportunity.
Crazy stuff happens at that place.
Tell us some of the tell us some of the good ones, some of your highlight reel, because I want to I want to experience it myself already, but I'd love to have some other people, hear
Yeah,
what you guys have in store. I've seen the pictures and stuff. I've seen what they even have at the fort because they post a lot of the stuff you guys have caught.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's incredible.
It really is. I mean, some nights it's dead ass boring. I mean, you can't make it happen. So it's kind of tough. We do a lot of the same areas because those are the active areas in the fort. So,
Hmm.
but a
Hmm.
lot of times, kind of let it dictate the. We swing between a few areas, which was more active because they're not all the same. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody has a different tour, a different or a hunt every time. I mean, it always changes. You're interacting with something that is surprisingly intelligent, kind of
So this
scary.
is like an intelligent haunting there. It's not just the residual, like a lot of
We've
old
communicated.
locations. Really?
Oh
That's
yeah,
incredible.
absolutely. There's a couple residuals there, I think, but
Mhm.
there's definite intelligence.
And what do you
That
think it is about the place that makes that happen? I mean, because it was an active fort, but it also wasn't like it wasn't used in like military battles. It
no,
wasn't like, one of those type of locations. So what do you think draws or kept those spirits there?
uh, well, it's my best explanation is it's basically it's made of granite, which if you know underneath the stone tape theory, I mean
Hmm.
there has been death there, there has been tragedy nearby, very nearby, for
Hmm.
hundreds of years. So there's such a history on the land itself. Uh,
Sure.
it's basically a big recording device.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you're lucky, you get to see a replay once in a while.
Right, right. So you've done it a few years now, so you must have had a few experiences yourself while you've been doing tours or investigating the place, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It happens every year. I mean,
Yeah.
something new will happen, and it's always something when I think that I've had everything. I've been touched more than once, which at first was
Mm,
it's not even an at first thing. It's always kind of disturbing. It's a different feeling.
yeah.
Um, to be touched when no one's there, it sends a chill. Like it's crazy stuff, but that's why we do it.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's true, right? You're not there to just like get scared of it the first time you finally have that interaction. So,
No, it is unnerving, man. There's no two ways about it. It's like a lot of the stuff we do is very unnerving, and it's not for everybody. And you know what? Some nights it's not for us. I mean, some
yeah.
places you just get a bad vibe. I don't need to prove anything to anybody, so if I'm not
Mhm.
feeling it, I won't do it. I mean, I
Yeah,
just don't
right. You're not going to put
care.
yourself in a bad situation for that, honestly. Yeah.
I've been doing this too long. I'm too old. I've
Well,
learned a couple things.
so how long have you been in paranormal research?
Well, it really depends if you want to consider like the Sasquatch end of it paranormal. I don't.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I mean, well,
so
okay, yeah. I guess I kind of see it there because it isn't really it isn't
it's
it's biology, it's speculative biology basically is what I like to
it,
call it,
it
or
gets lumped
phrenology or
in.
something like that.
Yeah, it gets lumped in with it, and I definitely understand because it's a definite unknown. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot of theories. Everyone's got a theory, but
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. So if you've been into that then so
I
did you start
started
this
that.
out pretty young?
Yeah, I was like 1993 is when I started kind of really looking for information anyway. And that for me
Mhm.
anyway was pre-internet. I didn't have it then. I'm
Yeah.
sure it was around in the early stages and it wasn't me. So I mean I was like I go to the library on the microfilm. I mean, it was old school stuff, but I would find the stuff.
Yeah.
And for Maine, I would always find the same 12 sightings, and it's like this, I mean, same exact word for word, 10
Mhm.
different books would have the same information. And I've known people and I've had my own stuff where I know there's more than 12. Those 12 are they're great. They kind of were, I don't know, they set the tone here, you know, because
Yeah,
that for
yeah,
years I argued with people that, you know, there's nothing in Maine. Sasquatch is purely Pacific Northwest, and man,
yeah.
that's
I
so not
don't
the
believe
case.
that to be the case at all. I think honestly, and I noticed the same thing because when I started researching pretty young, I got into Bigfoot and a lot of
Yeah,
cryptozoology stuff. And you're
yeah,
right. In Maine, it was kind of the same few sightings. And even now, you look at recent ones, it's like I think it's up to 21 or something like that. And those are
yeah.
all the same ones. They're all reported exactly the same. But then you just talk to people, and like we have so many more like
I have
encounters up here that just don't get officially documented for some reason.
absolutely. Behind me, I have a map, and it's a pin map, just push pins of different sightings people have either told me about or I've heard of. I mean, they're not all the scientifically accept, but I believe people, man. I'm one of those people. I mean, if I think you're full of it, I will take it for what you're worth. But for the
Absolutely.
most part, there's too much going on to doubt. Well, I mean, you can doubt, but if you stick around long enough, you're gonna see things like, and that's how I got into the ghost aspect. Like, I didn't set out to do that. I was always very dead set on I do this. I do Bigfoot. So I hate the term Bigfoot, so I always
Yeah.
will use Sasquatch, and I don't mean to be just weird.
Yeah.
Uh, but I lost my train of thought on that one.
Yeah, well, it's you were saying you didn't want to. You originally weren't set out to get into the
Oh,
ghost stuff,
ghosts,
and you
yeah.
would kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and I got mad. I'd get mad at people that investigated everything, right? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to
Mm.
specialize. I didn't care what was going on in Vermont. I mean, I thought it
Sure.
was cool, but at the same time, I it didn't affect me. Like,
Hmm.
I wanted to know everything I could about where I lived. I want to be able to
Yes.
go to these places.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
so I volunteered at Fort Knox for Fright at the Fort. I don't know if you're familiar
Yeah.
with
Yeah. I've
that.
been there tons of
Um,
times.
yeah, loved it. I did it for quite a few years, and but I don't know. Early on, it might even have been the first year I got touched. Like, that was the first time I got touched in a room where I was absolutely alone, and I was terrified because I was not one of the I was very much one of those, there was never a battle at Fort Knox, so there's no ghosts. I was
Yeah.
kind of
Sure.
I almost didn't understand how it worked. I kind of
Hmm.
thought I did. I had even had some experiences when I was younger, but this, I don't know. The more you look into this stuff, the more you find, and
Yeah.
it's just crazy
It kind of
stuff.
changes your perspective a little bit once you do like kind of open into that.
Yeah,
They call it the unseen world, you know. It's like once you tap into one aspect of it, you start seeing more of that part of it. It changes the way you look at a lot of things,
for sure. You
and
can't unknow
especially
something.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it affects a lot of big beliefs for a lot of people. Like, I've
Mhm.
seen stuff that actually contradicts some of I don't even you know what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. Like there are misconceptions, I think, from people that don't, do it or experience the stuff and understand what they're seeing and hearing.
yeah, I mean, anything can be rationalized
Mhm.
and justified, and that's a lot of the things. There's almost pre-designed answers for, it's the whole swamp gas, you know what I mean? Like, no
Yeah,
matter
yeah,
what,
yeah, yeah.
that's what it was. So
Yeah, weather balloon, swamp gas, whatever it happens
yeah,
to be. Yes. Yeah.
but,
I like
yeah.
that. And that was for a while with a lot of paranormal stuff. It was always like bad plumbing and electrical work. It
Oh
was
God.
always like,
Yeah. And it was, but so I got touched. And then we'll get back to that. And
yeah.
I ended up touching base with Amanda, who was with 207.
Yep.
Uh and she was also heavily into fright, and she was at the fort. And we became great friends, and over time they invited me to go to a couple hunts, and the next thing you know, after you know, they put me through the ringer, they let me join, and it's been that way ever since.
What was your initiation ritual? Did they make you like sit in a dark hole by yourself or something?
It's
Or
like we do that normally. No, No, there was no initiation. It was just, well, it can
Yeah,
be a lot of hard work and a lot of time, but
yeah,
uh,
yeah, sure. I imagine
it,
that would probably be a lot of it. But if you were already doing Bigfoot research, you're kind of used to a lot of long miles, long days, long nights doing
you
that stuff.
either love this stuff or you're just in the wrong business. Because and if you're trying to make money on it, this ain't it, buddy.
No,
You're not saying it can't happen, but it's to me, I'm too busy learning and finding
Mm,
stuff. Like I love going back and like native stuff, and these
yeah.
things have been here all along. It's
Oh,
not,
yeah. That's
it's
kind of been a
crazy
big
stuff.
thing for me in the last year or two too. Is like I started out where I had like kind of a like much broader focus where I was like, oh, I'll research like all of New England through like
Mhm.
some of like Canada to Nova Scotia. I was
Yeah,
like the Maritimes, right?
that's
And then
reasonable.
then I started actually reading anything about this region and like even just like coastal Maine up through Nova Scotia. I was like, there's just so much history and so much folklore and stories and everything else in just this area. And then looking at Maine as one object, I was like, there's so much stuff here that, not to narrow everything down, but I was like, there's just so much. And it is so old that like, it's like peeling back layers on an onion.
It
You know,
really
I,
is.
I I literally like every couple of months, I'll just come across
Yeah,
something new and I'm just like, holy crap. Like,
yeah.
wow, why does not everybody talking about this? And like,
Well, geez, a lot of people don't know about some of these things. There's a few of us that are. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this stuff, and I know a lot of us are. But that's a lot of the stuff's not common knowledge. I mean, I'm not one of those. I want to teach people because I generally don't really give.
yeah,
I can take you to places. I can show you things, but I'm not going to convince you, and I'm not even going to try.
right,
Uh,
right. Yeah,
but
that's respectable, especially when you're like in it to learn for yourself, honestly.
it was, yeah, yeah.
It
It
kind of
was,
opens up a space for people like me as well, because I can get the information and learn from everybody that is more knowledgeable in the field and then disseminate the information a little easier. Because honestly, there's not enough people that are out there doing field work the way that like you guys do.
yeah,
I mean, you're far more active because even just on your personal page, I see you're always out doing
yeah.
something. Like you're always doing
This
something
is,
out in the woods, and it's great. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah.
Like,
This is my life.
hey, it's
But
not bad when you live up here in the sticks. It's like,
no, I mean, you either again, if you don't like this or you don't love this place, and there's too much crap that goes on between mosquitoes and weather, and we put up with too much shit not to love it. Whoops, I don't know. I'm sorry about that.
true. No, we're an adult podcast. We can say whatever the
Um,
fuck we want. I keep that
okay,
language free and clear.
that
We
might
have
have
free and clear airwaves here on this podcast. I do not
that may
censor.
have been the longest I've gone without swearing in years. So
No, I have to do that enough for my day job. I don't bother with this shit because honestly, more
no,
often than not, it's one of these things where like I've been into the paranormal since I was like knee high to a tadpole, as they would say, and fucking literally growing up was always about Bigfoot, ghosts, UFOs, the whole thing.
yeah,
And Maine is like a fucking hotspot for all of this stuff, which is
absolutely.
why now I'm just like, I agree. If you don't already have an interest in this stuff and living up here, well, I don't know what the fuck you're doing here to a degree because there's like so much of that shit and it's really just entrenched in the entire like region.
Yeah, there's a huge history, and not only a history, it's a lot of the stuff still happens here every day. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff gets reported so frequently, and some of the shit is so off the wall. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe everything I hear. Every report I get, I'm not one of those. Oh boy, they've seen. Jesus, you should hear some of the shit I've heard. So I take
Yeah.
that with a grain of salt.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, well, because the main book of secrets. So let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit about this because the main book of secrets, I've been a follower of that page for literally as long as I can remember being on Facebook. I don't even know the
Right.
first time I stumbled across your page, but I was like, this shit is like right up my alley. And I
Right.
immediately followed, and it's just nothing but good stories and memes and great vibes. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah,
So what
it's
started
something.
that? What started that?
The fact I wanted all the information on, I wanted the Bigfoot sightings, I wanted the ghost stories, the UFOs. I wanted to hear all the stuff that was happening. And again, I
Mhm.
know this stuff is happening. We just need to get people to talk about it. And that's what my initial idea was. And then I started just wondering because I'm not one of those guys. I'm not going to make shit up to just get something to post. So I started doing the memes, and I'm like, my whole idea was to make memes, get attention, and then from that attention, I would get reports. I mean, there was a method to my madness, if you can believe it, and
It makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and for a couple of years, I just kind of quietly worked on that and built up people and stuff. And
Yeah. It's
now
built up
it's
a surprising following. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's
it's
ridiculous.
when I looked on there recently, and I don't, you're I see your memes like 3 social media sites removed on like
Right,
fucking Threads or Blue Sky or something like that. And I'm like, ha, I know exactly where you got that from.
right.
And
Yeah,
like, and it's I'll see the little like watermark on it. And every time I'm
yeah.
like, yeah, I know
I
that
used to
one.
take it
But
personal when people would swipe shit, but Jesus, I do that. You know what I mean? I may put my words with it sometimes, but it's rare that it's my photo even, I
yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
again, it's for attention. The stories, the encounters that I talk about, that shit's 100% as I've
Mhm.
gotten it. And again, it's not everything that I've been told. This is the stuff I believe.
Right, right.
I mean,
Stuff you're
again,
able to more like go in depth with yourself and
absolutely. Again, I can put my feet where it happened, and that I love. That's one of
Mhm.
my favorite things to do. Uh,
Yeah. Where's some of your favorite places that you've investigated around Maine, whether it be ghosts or Bigfoot, like, areas that are particularly like just memorable?
Jesus, obviously Fort Knox. I can't. I feel like I lose a pick by saying that, but I
Mhm.
would say Fort Knox. And the other memorable haunting was the mill down in Vassalboro. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah.
They don't do
I've
too
heard
much
of it.
down there. There was some events. Parafest we used to do that there.
Huh.
Uh, and Jesus, that place is nuts. Like,
Really?
yeah, it's there's crazy shit that goes on there, and I know a lot of people. We did tours there we did a hunt on the nights of the Parafests, and
Yeah.
so I mean, we had a lot of people with us witness some of this stuff, because a lot of this stuff you
That's
can't even
awesome.
explain, man. It just
Mhm.
unless you're there and you feel it, because it is a feeling.
Yeah.
There's, I mean,
It's
it's
an
not.
experience all around, that's
Yeah,
why I think a lot of it is.
it's not a TV show. That's for one thing. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of demon possession and all that shit.
Right? Yeah.
But
Yeah,
but for
it's
me,
not what you see on TV. I understand that. Thank
Jesus, the
God,
first time
Jesus.
that comes up in a conversation for me, I check out. Like
I
I have
get
a
you.
few things. Again, been doing it for too long. I have a few conversation killers. When I hear them, I'm done.
Yeah.
If you're gonna tell me Bigfoot just disappeared and reappeared and all that horse
Oh,
shit, then
yes. Oh my
carry
God.
on, dude. Good luck.
Okay, so what I thought of for that, because actually I've heard that so many times and it bugs me too. So what I thought of with that? What if Bigfoot can climb and these fuckers just don't look up?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's to stop it from just climbing a tree? Bears can climb trees quite
And
fast.
that's one of those things that I've kind of been my theory for years is the whole look up, man. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes on up there. I mean, and
It-
then you've got to look at it like, where would you go? You know, I mean, it's
Hmm.
these these things. They're disturbingly human. Uh,
Yeah, they're
so
intelligent.
very. It's again. It's I know. I don't know what we're dealing with, but I know there's something. Um,
So
so
on that, let me just ask you something because I'm kind of curious where you lay on this. Do you feel it's something closer to human or closer to primate, like closer to like an ape?
human.
Yeah, that's kind of
I
my thought.
mean, I'm definitely the idea it's a relic hominid. Like
Hmm.
I just the whole I don't know. Yeah,
You're too
I don't.
human-like.
Yeah, for years I thought it was the whole ape thing. That's what was drilled into our head. You know, the
Hmm.
apes among
Hmm.
us and all that stuff.
Yep.
You know, and they're I don't know. I used to have like my grandfather. He was a big outdoorsman and shit, and I used to ask him all the time about Bigfoot. You know. And,
Yeah.
I think I used to piss him off sometimes, but it's what I did. I mean, I was a curious kid, and that's what made me what I am today. So,
Sure.
but he used to tell me that there were people out there that decided to to exist in the woods, just said F it to all of it. And I used to think that was the dumbest excuse, like that wasn't explaining what was going on, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, brain cramp. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good, man. It's just it is there's so much stuff that like I remember one particular documentary and you were even on it. So Small
Okay.
Town Monsters. Yeah. Small
Yeah,
Town
yeah, that was
Monsters when they
cool.
came up here and they did one
Yeah,
on the pine apes. And
yeah,
I was like, that was like one of the first times that I had heard some of that like story from that perspective, and even heard the name Pine Ape, which I since have loved. Like I
yeah,
just like the title Pine Ape. I don't think it really appropriate, but I like the
yeah.
name.
Oh, absolutely. Very catchy, you know,
Yeah.
and when you get
I
a
don't
catchy,
think they're apes, though. I think that they're like you say. I think they're far closer to human. I think that they're an
yeah,
offshoot of something pre, pre whatever the fuck we are now.
yeah, there's
And
no
like,
question.
yeah, and it's one of those things where like Maine is one of those areas I've talked about it before where we have such a dense forest, sparse population in some areas, low human animal interactions. You look at your map up there and how much of your map in the back there is like literally just wide open forests and waterways where ain't nobody gonna see or hear a damn thing.
Those big blank spots, that's not where, you know, the Sasquatch aren't. That's more than likely where they are.
Right.
You know?
We're
Those are
catching the
like these
odd one that we happen to stumble across the once every 10 years.
it really is it really is a luck thing, but
Mhm.
sometimes I don't believe anybody that says they can take you right out to one. I could take you to a couple areas, but okay, it's like a moose, man. You ever tell someone you're going to take them and show them a moose?
Yeah.
You won't see a moose.
Yeah, dude, a
And
cryptid, friggin' moose basically already is a cryptid. I've seen two in my entire life. I've been here for
yeah,
35 years. Like
trust me,
it,
they're real.
it's one of those things. The first time I saw one when I was walking through the woods, I actually thought I was seeing a fucking like some mythical creature or something because it was way
They're
bigger than
big.
I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, they're very
I,
big.
I was very glad it was a female moose and there was no babies nearby. And I was just like, okay, I turned and I walked the other way. As soon as I clocked that, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. Because
Yeah, they
honestly,
can
there's no outrunning a moose, not in the woods, man. Like,
they can get nasty, and I don't blame them. They don't know we're invading their. This is their home, man.
yep, exactly. That's the way I pretty much handle most animals around here is we are in their home and we need to respect that, whether it be ones that we know of or ones that we don't. Because
Yeah,
and that's pretty good rule to have in general when you're walking in these woods. Uh,
sure.
so you
Especially if
got
something can hurt you.
so you've been doing this a long time. Have you
Yeah.
had any? Have you had? You've been touched by ghosts. Have you ever had any
Yeah.
any experiences with like Bigfoot, like sounds or something that you could definitely
Yes.
be like, that was a squatch that I heard?
Well,
Or
well, no, I'm not. Again, that's not me. I'm not gonna say
yeah,
unless I see it come out of its mouth, man. Uh,
yeah,
I did. I heard something one night that I mean, I I just about pissed my pants. Like it was. I'm not even kidding you. It was damn near terrifying. It was all of a sudden I understood the word primal. Like
mm,
that's what I got out of that whole thing. And this happened at my home. Like I was on my front porch at the time I smoked.
uh-huh,
And
uh-huh,
I'd go outside to smoke cigarettes and was standing out there. It was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. And it was again out in the woods. It's kind of where I like to live. And
yeah,
Jesus, like 50, 75 feet away was the wood line. And the loudest roar slash scream. It was like a female screech all into one, like to the
huh.
point where it vibrated me. I mean, my
Oh,
chest, I felt it.
yeah,
It was terrifying, and I was not alone. I had my girlfriend at the time was there with me, so and she wasn't a big believer in all this shit. A lot of people in my life just put up with me doing this, and I
yeah,
don't force it on them, but this one came to me, and not even saying that's what it was, but considering the location and other stuff that I know now, uh,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it more than likely was exactly what it was.
Based off of reports, yeah,
But I'm not going to say yes. It was I heard a Bigfoot.
100% definitive.
I heard something that scared the hell out of me. But then again, I've heard a rabbit scream. If you ever heard a rabbit scream, that's terrifying as well.
Fair,
So
fair. Yeah,
yeah,
no, there's quite a few things that make some pretty terrifying noises. I remember one night we had a bobcat outside of our window one night, woke me up about 2 in the morning. I
yeah,
don't think I've ever been more scared in my life. And it
yeah,
was just an ungodly sound to hear in the middle of the night. And it was right outside of my house. So I was just like, yep, that's a new thing.
yeah. It's welcome to
But
Maine.
yeah, exactly. Welcome to Maine is very right because we honestly we get all of it up here. We have the bears, we have the coyotes. We started to get wolves back apparently in some parts of the state. They say they're transient. I don't know about that.
Right.
Mountain lions, I've said for a long time, are definitely here because that's one
I
thing that
agree.
I've seen myself.
Yeah,
I seen them twice. I first time
yeah,
I would have said it's a fluke. Second time mid coast Maine, you see a cougar. It's
yeah.
not just passing through.
Right. Yeah, no, that's cool. I know they're here. I mean, I've never seen one. Uh,
Mm.
it's one of those things. I even know of a town up north that used to keep a notebook of the sightings that happened in the area because there was a breeding couple, a pair of cougars, and it was like common knowledge within the town hall. And
Yeah.
it was like, are you shitting me? Like, I could never get the book. I would have killed to get my hands on this
Oh
book,
yeah.
but.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
and I bet you it's more than likely still in that town hall, but all my
Yeah.
contacts now are moved on or passed on to there. So
Uh,
I'd
yeah.
have
Don't
to
have the
ask you
intel
from the other
anymore.
way. No, no.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
I know they're real. I know they're here, and I know for whatever reason we, we have a trouble acknowledging some things. I guess.
Yeah, that seems to be a common trend when it comes to stuff that the game wardens or the officials of the, Department of Inland Fisheries don't really want to talk about because I know you know, you probably know her, Jean Tewksbury. When I talked to
Yeah,
her, she'd probably
yeah,
gotten the furthest with them of anybody I've ever talked to
yeah,
as far as getting an actual conversation going. And even
yeah.
then, it was like a nothing burger basically for them. They were just not interested in having that conversation, which kind of sucks.
Right, that's
But
their compensation killer. They have their orders too, you know.
yeah,
That's not
yeah.
necessarily their beliefs, but
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen a few of them that probably have seen stuff themselves and they just, can't do anything about it. So why bother, right? um, so you like we said at the beginning of the show, you have the ghost tours coming up this weekend, and I just had a funny thought because that's I'm excited for I want to come to one of them. I don't know if I'm going to make. Do you sell the tickets in advance, or are they all booked up?
Uh, no, they're in advance. We do it through Eventbrite. Actually, the
Yep.
fort is they handle all the ticket sales, so uh,
Cool.
they put it on Eventbrite, and but yeah, it's we don't do uh, day of the event sales,
Yeah,
or at
yeah,
least not on site.
right,
Everything's
right.
paperless. It's still kind of weird, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
You
it's
ever
I
have some
mean,
people that just no idea what they're getting into?
oh, we've had to let out, like, they were done, like, game over. Because I mean, we lock
Really?
ourselves in the fort and then on the ground, so we've gotta physically open the gate for you to get out, and, yeah, we've
Uh,
had people be like, they tap out like that, that's just it, and it but I get it, if you haven't experienced something there, then you're not gonna quite understand, but it's that whole you get touched, man, without sounding dramatic, it's the whole like something touched your soul. I mean, and it's cold. Whatever the touch, no kidding, and I'm not the only one. Other people have told me that they
yeah.
felt the same way. But I got touched on my leg a second time. First time was on my back. Uh,
Mm.
the other time was on my leg in the officers' quarters. But I felt a cold hand touch my thigh. And I
Oh.
was terrified. I was in there with Paul and Sarah, I think, a couple of my teammates, and
Mhm.
if I remember right, that was the night I packed my shit up and left. Like, I didn't leave the fort, but I left the officers' quarters. I was done playing that night.
Yeah. A
It
little too
was
friendly.
it was yeah, it was a weird feeling. And again, it's some of these things are very unsettling. Like these, they don't scare me in general. But some of the shit that happens is it will blow your damn mind. And
Yeah. You can't really
that
be
was one
prepared
thing.
for it, right? Because it's
Well, you
like
can't.
it's the unknown.
Yeah, I mean and I don't know. I believe in a lot of things, and then a lot of things I think is horse shit. But then, I mean, I'm still getting proved wrong on some things. So I try not
Sure.
to be too judgmental. I mean, but yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
man.
I mean, honestly, like I have not had I've not had an experience where I felt something that I would have thought was like a spirit or something touch me. I've had a
Mhm.
spirit throw something at me before.
Yeah,
That was enough of an experience to where I was like, nope, and I got the fuck out of there.
for
So I
sure.
can't imagine what it would be like to actually have something make physical contact with me, like itself.
It's
Like
weird,
that is,
man.
yeah, man. I mean, honestly, like with the whole ghost tours thing, it's like
Yeah,
people I've talked to that do like ghost tours or like haunted museums and things like that. They're always like they always have these people that come in there. They're all like bravado. They're like, oh yeah, this is all fake, blah blah blah. And those ones are the ones that usually get proven wrong the hardest because those
those are
ones are
my
usually the ones that
favorite.
are not prepared.
Yeah, those are my absolute favorite. And again, we get a lot of that shit at the fort. And my
Really?
only question is, if you've come and nothing's happened again, that's fine. It's not a goddamn circus. We can't. Doesn't happen on command. And if
Yeah.
it did, then we'd be full of shit. Um,
Right.
but it's just the stuff happens. Um,
Have you so you said that you see stuff that you call out as that when you see it as full of shit, you call it out.
oh yeah.
So what's some of the ones that you see like you talked earlier about the demon possession, everything's a fucking demon stuff. Drives me crazy. Another one that gets me every time is everything's a fucking skinwalker with people. And I'm like, I fucking hate that the internet learned that goddamn word.
I know.
Um, it drives me fucking crazy every time I see it. It just immediately pisses me off at this point.
It's one of
What's some of
those.
yours that you're just like, this is fucking, absolute, there's nothing to it. Like,
Yeah. Well, my big thing is like the whole Sasquatch alien thing. People always say that again, I hate when people start talking about shit like that because A, it's totally ridiculous. again, I could be wrong, and I'll be the first one to eat the shit on it if I am. But again, as for according to what I've witnessed and I know that to be full of shit. So
Right.
again, I poo-poo that stuff immediately.
Hmm.
I have a hard time with portals. While I do believe that they have existed and even may, I don't believe there's half as many as people claim. I think that's a bullshit attention grabber. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, and you're talking like when they'll go into a haunted location and they're like, "There's a portal in the middle of this room," and it's like
portal
every
to
fucking
hell.
place. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah.
it's
That stuff.
bullshit.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree there
I
definitely.
got news for you, buddy.
Yeah,
But
it's not that easy.
and but shit like that is very much an attention grab. It's for the clicks, for the likes, the views. I mean, at that point, you're a business, man, because you're
Mhm.
making stuff happen. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. That's definitely a thing that I've seen that does drive me crazy in the age of social media and the internet. Is you'll have entire accounts that their entire thing is just like walking in the trees behind their house and being like, "Oh, I'm hunting for Wendigo or what the fuck ever,"
oh
and
yeah,
they're just like standing in the woods with a flashlight, and it's just like, okay, and it'll have millions of views. Is the part that pisses me off because
yeah.
fucking TikTok is stupid, and people
But
will
it's like
just jump on that shit.
it's the Blair Witch shit too. That style of the
Yeah.
jerky. There's got to be something happening. Crap.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
but at the fort, like we don't do a lot of that shit because you can't get a signal in those. There's like 3 foot walls, man. I mean, we don't. You can't go live too often there. So you don't get a lot of that because people are like, why don't you do TikToks and all this stuff? And
Yeah.
while I have nothing against it. I just don't. I've never done it, and honestly, I don't want to be the one responsible for it. That's why I don't push it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
understand that.
but some people just love. That's what they become, and I don't know. Attention's cool sometimes. It's a weird thing, but
Sure.
it makes people do weird things, and then money gets involved and goes all the shit. Then
Yeah, you know
the
how that'll
second,
do a lot.
well, with any of this stuff, the second it becomes a business and your livelihood depends on investigation and
Mhm.
research and all this shit, then I don't know, you're almost compromised because then you have to produce. Like,
Right.
and that's how people start bullshitting and making stuff up and just getting
Yeah.
more off the wall. And it's the whole, you know, the portal thing. You throw the demon in there, and nobody can argue with you, or nobody
Mhm.
will. And it makes
Right.
it tough for us when they come to the fort and we don't get possessed, and no, there's no
Yeah,
screeching and
exactly.
screaming.
I didn't see a full-bodied apparition come up and like take over somebody's body or something, so that means it's all
No, but
fake.
I speaking of that, I have you met, do you know Chris Brown?
Yeah. Yeah.
Psychic, yeah.
Yeah.
He was on our team for a long time, and me and him were down in the underside. I don't know. I don't even remember 2 years ago, but we're standing there talking, and I see that I saw basically uh, a full shadow. At the time it was a weird shadow. I wasn't thinking anything, but I'm
Mhm.
standing there watching something look around the corner. This was before a hunt, man. We weren't even. It was daylight still. We were just
Wow.
standing to some privacy chit chatting, and I'm watching, and it's like, who the frig is doing this? Because there's people, they're a lot of times, like when earlier in the day, when you get to the fort, we still have people walking around. So it could be
Yeah.
anybody. It could actually be a person.
Yep.
And, so I'm watching, and I was like, Jesus, that's not. I don't know. Come to find out, Chris is watching the same goddamn thing, and we're standing there, and this entire, and again, I hate to use that stupid phrase, but full-bodied apparition, this full shadow
Mhm.
walked right up to us within a couple inches of my face, like, and I'm not kidding. Again, another one of those, wow, like, couldn't,
And this is still during the day. Like,
absolutely during the
wow.
day. And I don't know what it was. To my knowledge, that had never been experienced down there.
Huh.
Then we're since, but we and then we've had another full apparition right outside the dog houses, or the little white houses that you go
Yeah.
down on either side of
Yeah.
the fort. Uh,
Sure.
and we saw a full. We thought it was a human person walking. And it was it was a shadow. We literally ran up and shined lights where, because I mean, we have people again, even in the dark, they'll come into the fort and they see
Yeah.
cars, and so we're some nights we're just, you know, chasing
Yeah, because it's
people.
not like they have security. So, if they see
No,
that the place is
that's
open and there are people walking around, they're gonna try and jump in, I'm sure.
yeah. So no, that we are security at that point, and
Yeah.
but that's the thing, like that sometimes that's one of those realities you got to make sure it's not a real person. And that in
Right.
that case, it absolutely wasn't, because after it approached us, or however you want to look at it, it was done as quick as it would. I told the story longer than it happened. It was like a boom, boom, boom thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
it was quick, but we went down to where I saw it peeking around the corner, and there was actually 3 or 4 steps down. So where the spot that the shoulders and the head were coming around, it would have been over 7 feet tall if it was a
Oh
person.
wow.
Like there was no ground where we thought it went straight. I don't know
Yeah.
every square inch of the fort, and
Right.
Jesus, there were steps down, so it was way to hell up in the air.
That's
And
incredible.
yeah, I mean, and this is all before the hunt, so
They were
anytime.
waiting for you that day.
You know what the best part about Fort Knox is? It's
Yeah.
haunted during the day too. People
Right?
don't
Yeah.
realize that, man.
Well, it's not like ghosts give a shit what time it is. Like
Oh,
they're there regardless. They're just existing or whatever it
yeah,
is, if the non-existence or the
yeah.
whatever it is.
We get lots of
They're
reports.
there.
Yeah, they are. They're
Yeah.
absolutely there. Um, and honestly, if you're nervous about hunting at night or coming to one of our events, just go during the day. I mean, I have
Sure.
heard plenty of stories of stuff that happens during the day. I mean, I've experienced stuff. Uh, and don't worry about the dark. There's always places to be dark in the fort.
Right. Yeah,
And,
absolutely. No, even during the day there, people that haven't been to the fort, it's got spots that are pretty well lit and you can just walk through it. But there are
yeah,
parts of it when you get into the bowels of the place, there are parts that you need a
yeah,
flashlight in the broad daylight.
yeah,
And they're wet, dank, creepy places in the best of circumstances. So then when you add
mhm,
that added element, you definitely see how that place would have that kind of, that atmosphere that definitely adds to it all.
for
Then,
sure.
I could see where people would definitely get in there in the night. It would be a bit overwhelming in some parts of the fort for sure. Like I could definitely
It's
see.
yeah. I'll tell you the funniest part for me, and the only couple times I've been nervous at the fort, where sometimes we'll have outdoor outside teams come in and investigate, and we have
Yeah.
one. They do a lot of, they're called haunted nights. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're cool guys,
Hmm.
actually.
Hmm.
Uh, but like, what the hell was I just saying? I just lost my train of
Haunted
thought.
nights was coming in you said you're having
Oh
outside
yeah, yeah.
investigators come.
Yeah, yeah. But so anyway, we have to. I'm usually, or some of us will be there with keys, and we make sure that everything. And sometimes we'll hunt with them. But long story short, end of the night, you have to walk the fort and walk up long alley y- by yourself.
Uh,
And at first, it's like, oh fuck, I'll do it. Not a big deal. I'll
yeah.
tell you what, man. I don't care what you got for lights, but walking down some of those, the like long alley or two step, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if
Middle
you
of the
don't
night.
believe, let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
keys,
I can't
like,
remember who it was that said that, like, they were like, everybody's a skeptic, but nobody wants to go down there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's one of those situations.
mm,
So you
it's
guys 207 Paranormal. I've seen you at the Paranormal Fair and stuff like that, where you guys have set up and had some of your materials and stuff. I also saw some of the equipment you guys bring with you on investigations.
Yeah,
So I'm a tech guy. I work in
yeah,
metrology.
yeah.
So I've got a lot of background when it comes to tech. So what's some of the tools that you like to bring with you to investigate and stuff like that?
Oh, Jesus.
Aside from just your vibes, audio
Yeah.
recorder, notebook, like
Honestly,
anything that you keep?
I'm not. I have no specialty. I will
Yeah.
use spirit boxes. I have. I actually made a telegraph machine.
Oh
It's for
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I've
It,
seen
it works.
those.
Yeah. It's so that I use that. I mean, I'm not like Paul and Paul uses a lot of newer shit. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He
Yeah.
pays attention to the so yeah.
Yeah. Some of it I'm more up on than others, because like I said, I'm a tech guy, so like some of it I see value, a lot of it I'm like, that's not going to pick up anything that you can replicate, right?
Yeah, well that's it. I mean, and I'm more or less like that's why with the my I like the positive touch. I don't like these things that can't be explained. Like again, I know stuff can't be explained, but like the other thing we've been doing recently, or at the end of last year, we started doing the mag light thing again. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've done that, man, but that again, that's one of those ones you look at it and you're like, that's horseshit, dude. You know, do it, try it.
Until you see it work.
When you start getting intelligent responses, like that's the stuff that makes the hair on your neck stand up. I mean, and I'm bald, so and if I can get that shit to happen, then but
Right?
you know, these things happen there. And Fort Knox is an easy place if you're leery about the whole thing. We're a good team to
Good
go
place
with.
to
I
dip your
mean,
toes in the water.
we'll let you out, you know.
Yeah, you're not in there for the long haul. This isn't what
We
was that
don't,
show? MTV used to have that show back in the day, Fear, where they
yeah,
just lock people into these horribly haunted locations and just
yeah,
scare the
man.
shit out of them.
I remember that show, and I don't even think I would care for that style much. I used to love watching it, but
Oh yeah.
no thanks on the being locked in. I don't
No, no.
know.
Like abandoned in the middle of the woods on some fucking island somewhere where you know that you're miles away from anywhere. It's already bad. Like
Yeah, yeah. No, we're pretty easy on people, so we don't want people to
but
be scared. We want them to experience stuff, but you
right.
know, it's one of those things. Fright at the fort. We want to
Yeah.
scare you then.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
our investigations or tours, we don't want to scare you. We want you to experience some of the stuff we have. Some of the shit's cool. And again, some of it's just very ho hum, kind of mundane or nothing at all.
Yeah.
It's never a guarantee, but I don't know. Fort Knox is just a different kind of place, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm definitely gonna get there this summer and check it out
Yeah,
with you guys because
just
it
let me
sounds
know
like
when
a
you want to go
fantastic
and
time. I totally
let me
will.
know.
I will be
Yeah,
on that. Another one
I
I want to
know
get
you'll
your
go.
another place I want to get a whole get your take on because I talked about it a little
Yeah,
bit. I want to look at it myself.
yeah,
Haynesville Road. What's
yeah,
your take on this place? Because this is a legendary haunting, and I haven't really had a chance to talk about it on the channel before.
yeah. It's a cool place.
Yeah.
uh, it's another one of those places, just total weird vibe.
Uh-huh.
And it truthfully is, man. And then knowing some of the shit I know, it just makes it worse.
Yeah.
But uh, yeah, ghost stuff, all kinds of ghost stories up there. There's the
Yeah.
whole the white lady
Hmm.
hitchhiker. There's that whole traditional. I'm pretty sure that exists in about every
Yeah.
corner of the
Everywhere's got their
country.
version of that for
Yeah,
sure.
but
I
there
mean,
I know
Dick Curlis wrote a whole song, Haynesville
absolutely.
Road.
Yeah,
Fantastic song, favorite of
yeah,
mine.
for sure.
It's a
That's funny. Yeah,
legendary place.
yeah, and it's very real. It's I don't know. It's a lonely road. It really,
Yeah.
really is. Like even
Yep.
during the day, there's a lot of nothing for a lot of miles, which then you compound that at night, like, and if you were to break down out there, I can see it being absolutely terrifying. Like,
For
I
sure.
want to go spend like at least a night up there, uh, which may be stupid in itself, but I would love to tent out up there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It looks like it would be really cool to just check out. Like I really just want to go drive the road sometime just to feel it
Oh,
because I've done that
yeah,
with several other ones around here, like Catherine's Hill. That was
yeah,
one that as soon as I heard about it, I was like, I'm gonna go take a drive out there. And
right,
it's
right,
I get it. I went out there and even did an overnight investigation there once, and it was a blast. It was a really
yeah,
cool place. Silver Lake's another one. Go out
yep,
there in the middle of the night and hang out for
right,
a little bit.
yeah,
Feel some stuff. It's
yeah.
wild.
Our area
To
is
me,
really active, so
oh,
it
it's
really is.
crazy to me. Like,
You
I
just
talk
gotta
about it all the
put 'em
time, and
on.
people are just like, I started this little game on my page that I thought was fun until I realized that they already broke the code. Like, all of my followers and everybody that pays attention to my social media already figured it out. Because I did Haunted or Not. I was like, oh, this will
Yeah.
be fun. Then I pretty much immediately realized that they, like, as soon as they figured out if it's actually Maine or not, they're like, it's Maine. It's, of course, it's haunted.
Right.
like,
Yes.
like, I just post some like picture of some unassuming pond, and they're like, "Oh, that's haunted as shit." Like,
Yeah. It's Maine. There's been a tragedy there.
right, exactly, and it's not wrong. Like, they're probably pretty accurate on half of
Yeah,
it at least. Because Jesus Christ,
absolutely. Yeah,
it's been one
for
of those
sure.
things that, like I said earlier in the show, I was like peeling back layers on an onion. Every time that I
Yeah,
figure out something new, I'm like, oh, hey, like this is a cool area. And I'll start doing a little bit of research. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, it turns out the Abenaki have been telling legends about this place and spectral lights for years and like
yeah.
just cool
They may
stuff. And
not
I'm
have
like,
they may not have used the terms that we use, and that's what people they don't see those keywords, so it must not have happened. You read, man, this stuff, like you
yeah,
said, it's been happening for a lot of these things for a long time. It's been just a normal part of life.
mhm,
And for whatever reason, we've forgotten it as our society. I don't know why.
mm,
I think they're kind of cool. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Same. I seek to understand it more. I do. At the same time, I already know it's so old. It's been here. I'm never gonna understand it. It's not meant for me. There's parts of these woods I feel like we're just not meant to be knowledgeable about. I think that's the case with a lot of this
There's
stuff. Is like we're just
there's
that's not our circus, not our monkeys. Like,
there's areas in this state where there's areas of the woods that you're absolutely not supposed to be. Like 100% you will know. And honestly, you should listen. Like, you just don't yeah, it's one of those things. I
yeah, I
play
have.
if you want, I like a good story anyway, but,
Right?
you know,
But that's the
it's
thing. They got to make it back out to tell you the story, and that's
yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but,
yeah.
yeah.
We'll find out one way or another, right?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I just want to get people talking about this shit and experiencing it. Like it's all here. Most of it
Exactly.
doesn't even cost money. Like
Right.
when you come to the fort, every bit of money that you pay for your ticket goes to the fort. We make absolutely nothing from that. It's
Yeah.
100% for Fort Knox. And there's been years where we were one of the biggest fundraisers, other than
Mhm.
Fright.
Sure.
So we're pretty proud of that. And
Yeah, I bet you guys are great for that place. I mean,
it's
honestly, like I don't remember growing up in the area, and I've lived here, like I said, almost my whole life.
yeah,
I do not remember there ever being as much buzz about a local historic location
yeah,
until all of a sudden y'all started getting pictures and EVPs and hosting ghost tours. And now it's like every year when you guys start that, it's like Z107.3, fucking New Center, Maine. Like everybody's posting an article. Hey, the ghost tours are starting at Folk Knox.
right,
Blows my mind as somebody
yeah,
that was here and into this stuff for so long that when I was like a kid and I go there on my field trips, they'd be like, "You're dumb for thinking this place is haunted."
yeah,
And
man.
now I'm just like, who's dumb now? Like,
Well, the management of Fort Knox very much believes that there's activity. They believe enough that they tell us. Like when they tell the gift shop,
Wow.
they're usually the ones that will get, you know, there's the wild story of what just happened, which is cool. But they usually will pass it along to us. I've heard some pretty cool ones that I wish I could talk to the people, but you know, they're day visitors and then they're gone. But
Yeah.
it's kind of awesome, but it makes me wonder how many stories walked away, you know?
Right, right,
So,
yeah. Because you know, there's probably more than a few people that just walk out of there. They're like, "I didn't see that," or they just don't. They just don't want to talk about it. Because I know
yeah,
a lot of people that they're not open to talking about this stuff.
no, it
They
scares a
might
lot
have
of people.
experienced this. Yeah, they're just terrified. They think that talking about it gives it power or something, and they're
Yeah,
just like, no, they don't want to. And I understand that. That is a belief for a lot of cultures, so it does make sense. But it's also like you're right. You're walking away with a story that other people could share and
yeah,
enjoy.
it's a big story. I mean, there's cool stories at Fort Knox, man. There really is. Like we have some pretty regular occupants that we deal with regularly, and then there's other spirits that I have no friggin' clue. Like we get
Yeah.
transients more or less.
Show up, huh?
Well, yeah, yeah, we get a lot of local stuff from the area at the fort. So, um,
Huh.
yeah, it's yeah,
Well, when you investigate a place like regularly, you kind of do develop a feel for it. Like
you really
you
do.
get a more of attachment.
We have Leopold. You ever hear of Leopold? He's one of the bigger paranormal stars at the fort. He was a longtime security guard there,
Mm.
and he died many years ago at Fort Knox. That's
Oh
the other
wow.
thing. People are always nobody died at Fort Knox. Bullshit. There
Yeah.
wasn't a battle at Fort Knox, but there's been death, and that's the only prerequisite for a ghost. So you don't have to
Right.
die in a war necessarily. Um,
Yeah.
so Leopold is still very much on patrol. Like, and we have stories. He's in the books. Like, they have a lot of information on him. And honestly, we think he still patrols the fort at night. Like, I've heard the heavy boot steps. I've
Yeah.
smelled leather. Like, and I
Huh.
know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but again, you know the groups you're with on the nights, and if somebody has too much perfume or shit like that, you may not know who, but you know the crowd stinks, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
one of these nights, Paul and I were standing in two step doing that part of the tour, and Jesus, like all of a sudden, like when someone wears like a leather jacket and they walk by you, there's that very leathery. All of a
Yes.
sudden, got that wicked strong. Like, and then Paul got it because he was like 3 or 4 feet behind me. So I got it first, and then it kind of went into the crowd, the smell. It was very weird again, and I know it was just a smell. It's
Yeah.
all it is. I can't say it was a ghost. I just don't know where the smell of leather came from. We
Right.
get the smell of tobacco, like not
Mhm.
cigarettes, like a pipe tobacco. We know that Leopold smoked a pipe, you know,
Huh.
uh, yeah, and we have
Yeah.
a little girl. Her name's Elizabeth. At least that's what she says.
Oh.
You don't know. There was there was a farm. One of the lives of the land of Fort Knox was there was a farm in the area with a family, uh, and through some of our communication, that's what the claim is that she
That she
felt
was an
she was
inhabitant of the
a part of
farm.
that family. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
kind of funny because we've through different devices we communicate, and she's actually said she liked Paul, one of my teammates, because he looks like her dad, which was like one of the saddest and coolest things I ever
Oh
heard.
man.
But
Yeah.
and it's true. He's like when we try to get her, which is pretty regular, like she just happens to be attracted to Paul. Like I think it's a
They
daddy
made
issue.
a bond. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's
well, I mean,
yeah,
honestly, you figure they're bound to be. If he's from the area, maybe a long lost cousin, descendant, or something somewhere
right.
down the line happens to have some familial resemblance, and
Yeah,
that dude happens to be there, and you're a spirit, and you see this guy that looks like your
yeah,
grandpa or something. You're probably gonna want to talk to that guy, right?
absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting. Again, and that's one of those things we have no definitive. We can make all kinds of shit up about Elizabeth, even the name. We don't know. That's what we've been told. I mean, it's kind of what we're going on. I mean, and I
Yeah.
don't, again, just like with real, the living, I don't trust everything when we're communicating other ways. I mean, you've got to hear something, you know, for me anyway, I've got to almost experience something numerous times. So,
Yeah.
and I have. So it's
Right.
like when I say it, man, I don't even argue. So,
It's
but my
validating
favorite,
when you get that.
oh yeah, and but Fort Knox will do it. That's the best part. I can't guarantee what's going to happen, but most people will leave there with their own happening, whether it be the touching, the feeling, the movement, the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
Everybody, most people will have those, but they have a hard time talking about it, and they always laugh when they're telling you. And it's like we're not going to laugh at you. Like that's not, nervous laugh. That's cool, but don't, you
Yeah.
know,
They always have
because
that thing where they're trying to treat it like it's a joke or something when they're
because
reiterating.
that's how society does it. Really, I think that's the easiest way to deal with it.
Sadly,
The
yeah,
whole
you're
bury your
pretty
head in the
right.
sand.
Yeah,
But
that definitely does seem to be the case, and I hope that people like you, the pages that you run, the work that you do is kind of dispelling some of that stuff because I really do think, having places like the Maine Book of Secrets makes it a little more accessible and easy to talk about like weird stuff.
for sure. But
Because
again,
I've
it's
seen
not
even
all.
random memes you'll post, and there'll be somebody that'll be like, "Hey, I saw something," and they'll just drop it in your comments sometimes, and I'm like, "That's cool!" Like, wow,
Yeah,
man, like, where's that? Like,
that's one of the biggest things. And with all parts of this field, whether it be ghosts or paranormal or Sasquatch, like people need to know that they're not the only ones. Like this happens to people. Like, and it doesn't just happen to the redneck with four teeth drinking a beer that's seen it on. They always pick that guy to interview, and
I
it's like
know, right?
there are so many normal, well, close to normal people that these things. This is a reality. It just happens. They've seen something. They've experienced something. They continue. That's the other thing. A lot of people
Mhm.
have continued experiences the
Yeah,
same place, and
yeah,
they're not talking about it. It's just the way it is. I mean,
hmm
I don't know. Uh
yeah. That was
it's
something I had talked to a friend of mine, Tim Banal, a friend of the show. I had been
yeah,
talking to him one time, and I said something similar. As I was like, people here just don't even talk about it sometimes. Like, it's so regularly for some people that they just don't even want, whether they want to or they just don't think to. I don't know which it is, but it's
yeah,
weird. Like even growing up, you hear random stories from like my grandmother who didn't believe shit about shit.
yeah,
But she'd be like,
yeah,
we'd be driving through Searsport or something on a weekend friggin' road trip. And she'd be like, oh, this building was haunted when I was a kid, and this happened
right,
there, and this stuff. And that was all the time. This is
yeah,
not a one off. This is everywhere you go around here. And
yeah.
everybody's got something. Just some of them don't talk about it
Well,
until
and
they're prompted.
that's the best thing, and that was my whole idea was to hopefully get people talking because every time we do anything public at the fort or any other event, like people will always grab you and tell you what's happened to them. And I've met lots of people that didn't have any intention of going public, but they will meet you and they see that you're somewhat sane and
Right.
you just got to make people feel comfortable, like
hmm
not off the wall shit. Don't no theories. Don't make shit up. It's weird
Yeah.
enough, man. We don't have to make shit up.
Right.
You know?
It's a
uh,
big part of it for sure. Yeah. We do have
it's,
plenty of weird enough stuff. It's like,
no,
you
I don't
know,
have time
I
to
yeah, I totally understand that. And you're definitely right. And unfortunately, the way the, whole thing goes is even up here. Recently had Bar Harbor. They've always had the Bar Harbor ghost tours. Well, recently a place from out of state came and started up their own ghost tour right up the
Oh
road in Bar
no.
Harbor.
Yeah.
And now they're like trying to make up all this cockamamie shit about, oh, there's a hidden tunnel on the Criterion, and there's like,
Yeah.
all this. And dude, like the amount of people, and just they've only been here a year, maybe, but the amount of people already that have come to me and said, oh, did you hear about the tunnel under the Criterion?
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn it, man. I'm like, you guys barely even put your feet on the ground before you started fucking it up. Like,
Right.
it's just one of
Yeah.
those
No,
things.
we get that at the fort. People tell stories that aren't even. I mean, we heard a story on one of the national TV shows about a soldier being shot at Fort Knox. Nope. They told a full friggin' story. We were on the show, like our team, and they just kind of made up their like, where the fuck did
Wow.
somebody get shot? Like, so we have people that come now and they ask us where it is. I'm like, I have no clue. Like, I don't know, it's again, but all they do is they have to say stuff like that and boom, their views go through the roof.
Oh,
So
yeah. 100%. Yep.
yeah,
That's definitely it.
that's all it is for
Yep.
some people.
100%. Yeah. I absolutely get it. Well, hey, man, it has been fantastic having you on the show. Before we
No, I
get ready to go, I had a great time talking to you. I feel like
yeah,
you've got just so many stories and so many things to
oh,
tell because you've
no
been doing
idea.
this a while. You strike me as a very knowledgeable dude in the spooky shit in these woods.
I know a lot of shit, but I just don't, I don't do a lot of these for one thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know. I
I
trust
mean,
no
hey, dude,
TJ, so I
if you'd ever like to come back on the show another time, I'd love to have you any day because man, you were fun to talk to. You're a good dude. I very much enjoyed this conversation. Like I said before, though, I am just absolutely happy with the pages you run. I'm looking forward to the ghost tour this year at Fort Knox. I'm absolutely going to be making it out. I will be shooting you a message when I'm able to get a
yep,
ticket and secure a date to come because it's not that
anytime.
far. It's only about 45 minutes from me, so it's
Yeah,
relatively close. The problem I've had is I've literally drove through that area like 5 times in the last 2 weeks going elsewhere. So
yeah,
now I'm like, I need to stay home for a weekend. I got some shit to do.
yeah. No, I hear you.
But yeah, dude, I am very much looking forward to seeing what happens this year at the fort. Before we go, aside from the ghost tours coming up, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Jesus, not really. I mean, I nothing I can think of.
Okay.
Just
That's all
pay
good, man.
attention
I
to
will be.
the Book of Secrets as far as going to Haynesville, man. I got a lot more stuff planned on up there. There's, you know, I don't post everything I hear. I wait. I sit on stuff. So there's a lot
Yeah.
more to come, man. I got like lake monster stories. That was a new
Oh,
one I've got.
really?
So yeah. I
Nice. Don't
talked
hear
to a
those
guy.
very often. That's
No,
great.
and I talked to a couple for over an hour about the sighting, and they say they have a picture, but I have to go in person to see it. So,
That's
but yeah,
always the best trip, though. That's always a fun time because that anticipation, that's so
yeah.
cool. Like,
So
oh, dude,
there's
yeah.
plenty to talk about. That's what I'm saying.
Hell
I
yeah, man.
get stories every day, all different. I'm just more interested in some than others. That doesn't mean that one's not any truer than the other.
Right.
I
Absolutely.
I kind of I gravitate towards the big three, Sasquatch, ghosts, UFOs. Like
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
that shit's happening right here every day.
And
So
all the time, honestly. It's been more and more, honestly, I found because
mm,
like last year, UFO stuff this past year has been insane up here.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because we
The
had a lot of
drone
stuff.
thing.
Yeah, that whole drone thing, that was fucking things up big time up here because there was like,
Yeah,
and then we already had like we were already a hot spot before that, and then that
yeah,
just like blew it out of proportion. Now shit, I'm like, I'm having to be on the air radar every night looking up
yeah.
stuff, dude. We literally just a couple weeks ago, maybe a month at most, we had a Black Hawk helicopter circling the island here. I've
Yeah.
never seen one of those here in my life.
Were they doing search and rescue or just, I mean, was somebody missing or
Nope.
no?
Just out doing loops. No
Ah,
idea why. Like, never seen it before. I used to live next to the airport for a long
yeah.
time down here. Never
Huh,
saw one there ever.
yeah.
All of a sudden, I'm out here on the island and I see one just going real low over the whole woods. I'm like, what the fuck are these
You
people
never
looking for?
know.
Yeah, dude. And the truth is out there, as they say.
This,
And
this is Maine, man. It could literally be anything. So, but that's
it
cool.
absolutely could. I like that. I like that outlook.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. I very much appreciate you coming on and chatting with us.
Anytime.
Y'all, I will be definitely. I'm gonna take you up on that offer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will be. Y'all, people listening to the show, if you are in our neck of the woods, do yourself a favor and go and check out the Fort Knox Ghost tours that are going on this year. Absolutely fantastic time. I'm sure everybody would enjoy that. If you're on Facebook, check out the Maine Book of Secrets. It's one of the best pages on the entire goddamn hell site that has become that fucking meta app. It's one of the only reasons I even go there anymore. I'll be honest.
Easy. No
It's one
pressure.
of those things. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
hey, man, endorsements. I'm talking you up. I'm gassing
I,
you up because it's
and
worthwhile.
I appreciate it, my friend. I really do.
Well, hey, folks, as always, this has been the Reverend Redbeard for Acadia After Dark podcast. I appreciate y'all. Keep those lanterns lit and stay safe out there. We'll talk soon.